What is this? What are we doing here? What is this? Who are we? This is the Poor Bastards Almanac, episode 44.
44.
The magic number. Man, Trump said bullshit on his tweets.
That man cussed. Somebody call his parents.
We just can't have that. Impeach him. This is it. We got him this time. We got him.
Cussing and quoting Nickelback. Lock that bastard up.
Like the Orange Man bad, like re-squeals are like, I don't know. They're starting to like vibrate the earth or something.
I just, for the life of me, man, what is going to happen when he gets reelected? Now, I mean, of course, you got to throw the sticks, hex, and hammer caveat where Trump could fucking stroke out, during his next tweet or something like that. Barring anything like that, assuming that Trump is going to remain in good health, he's running rings around the Democrats, man. There's just not a person in that field. I mean, Buttigieg's coming up in the polls, but
yeah, but there's no way.
Yeah, the Democrats aren't playing it straight enough to have an outsider like that actually do any kind of make a substantial showing anywhere.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's looking like old white man Biden. There's just no way. We'll see.
He's starting to slip in the aggregate. Warren is starting to eclipse him.
Yeah.
This Ukraine business is sinking his ship, dude.
And
he stopped his online advertising campaign.
Really?
That is common knowledge. Yeah, I've heard that from several places today.
Let's see what our politics says about Biden. Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Why would they?
Let's see. Let's search up Biden. Biden says poor kids are just as smart as white kids. That was a month ago. Drop out Joe Biden. Well, they've got some points here. Sanders overtakes Biden in New Hampshire poll. What, in somebody's house? Is that where the poll was taken?
Isn't New Hampshire like the kindred state to Vermont? Is that not what Sticks was saying the other day? Like if Sanders can't lock down New Hampshire, he's fucked.
Yeah. It's hard to tell with our politics, but it looks like they're talking about him plunging. Well, that was a month ago. They're talking a month ago, Warren overtaking Biden.
It wouldn't surprise me in our politics. They're pushing the progressive side of things. And and Elizabeth Warren has been courting the leftists. Because she's not an idiot. She knows she needs the far left vote to win.
Yeah, because, those are straight up lies. Biden is above Warren only by 2 points right now. Okay, well, at some point in September, apparently she had taken him. So it could be Warren, I guess. We'll see.
Because see, as I see it, Harris is toast.
Yeah.
Gabbard smoked her boots.
I just don't want to die. You're not going to die. You're never going to die. We're going to live forever because we're Democrats. What was she? Was that over gun violence? Is that all that was?
That was like some high school student talking to, was it Kamala? Yeah, it was Kamala Harris.
It was. Fucking weird. God, people are so fucking weird.
Out of those three, Biden, Warren, and Sanders, in that order, you've got Biden, who has the corporate liberals at his back, which is why he had so much support before he even entered the fucking race. He was the front runner before he entered. And it was to the point where people were scratching their heads saying, what the fuck are you waiting on, Joe?
Yeah.
And that's where the money is amongst the corporate Democrats. They don't want high tax progressive left policies because that's less money in their pocket. The corporate liberals and the corporate Republicans, that what is it, the Venn diagram where it's got the two intersecting circles? That's where you get the intersection of do nothing politicians are the comfortable corporate liberals and corporate Republicans that get all the donations, that when they get into office, then they owe favors and nothing happens. And they keep kicking cans down the road because as long as there's problems, there's shit to be fixed and there's stuff to be ran on. There's issues to run on. And so you've got Biden with the corporate money there. And you've got Sanders, who is just, a high tax socialist. I mean, holy shit. One of Styx's videos the other day was that, Sanders proposes yet another tax. That's not palatable to the money that's flowing through the Democrat Party. And then you've got Elizabeth Warren trying to straddle the line there. She's trying to court the socialist children of the Democrat Party while sucking corporate cock. But she doesn't have to blow too much corporate pee-pee because she rolled over a lot of her Senate campaign funds into her presidential campaign. So she's already blown that pee-pee on the front end.
Yeah.
So she can at least optics-wise look like she's not as corporate as Biden. And that's a tap dance that she's not going to be able to win.
I mean, Styx doesn't think that Elizabeth Warren has a fighting chance in any of the debates at all. Like, zero chance. Because allegedly, well, what he says is that anytime, she gets pressured outside of her standard, teleprompter talking points, is she just freezes.
Yep, either that or she gets pissy and comes off as a harpy.
Yep. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched any of the debates except for like the first one, which I don't remember if she was even in it. It's so weird that they're splitting up all their candidates. I guess it's not weird, but it is weird. It's weird that they've allowed that many people to try and run. Like, everybody's invited. You get a presidency. You get a presidency. Like, reel that in a little bit.
Many people run, but they don't take any of them seriously.
Right.
Like they completely fuck Gabbard off of being on the stage with Warren, because they know what's going to happen with that. I mean, she is going to go for a fucking scalp.
So is this election that's coming up in about a month, is that when they vote on their primary candidate? Or does that happen somewhere else at some other time?
I'm not sure when the actual Democrat primary is.
Primary election. Nonpartisan primary for the April 2nd, 2019 spring election. What does that mean? Primary election, often just primaries process, which voters can indicate their preference for their party's candidate in an upcoming general election. Okay, yeah. The origins of primary elections can be traced to the progressive movement in the United States, which aimed to take the power of candidate nomination from party leaders to the people. Democrats, however, political parties control the method of nomination of candidates for office in the name of their party. And other methods of selecting candidates include caucuses, conventions, and nomination meetings. Yeah. So nice job, progressives. Yeah, you didn't do anything. It's still in the hands of party leaders. Whatever. That's progress for you. It's not immediately apparent, even on Google. Primary election dates, U.S. Vote Foundation. It looks like March is when the primary elections are. I think Styx said Wisconsin is the first, but their primary information is not available. Check deadlines. Idaho primary election, Kansas Republican presidential caucus, presidential primary election. Okay, yeah. So I think that happens in March then. That's what it looks like. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, that makes sense because it's another year before the actual election in November,
Yeah.
and that was the phrasing that people were using with regarding Biden cutting out his online campaign, was that he's cutting that shit out an entire year before the actual election.
So I wonder why. I wonder what that's all about.
He has been awfully silent on this Ukraine stuff in the past couple days, man.
Well, yeah, I would be too. Dude, if I had a fuck up like his kid, I don't know how he made it in politics anyway. His kid is a massive liability. I'm surprised Trump hasn't mentioned fucked his sister. Like, real surprised.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, the old sister-in-law. Holy crap. Yeah, plowing your dead brother's widow. Nice. Nice.
That's how the Bidens do it, man.
Hey, I guess that's the political elite in this country, man.
That's fucking funny.
Making $50,000 a month hanging out on the board of a Ukrainian energy company where you don't even have an energy background or speak the fucking language. Holy Christ. Yeah, I guess working's for the birds. For the rest of us peasant Americans, that have to toil for over a year to make $50,000.
Yeah. I like working. I don't mind working. I'm probably not going to retire. I'm not saving. I don't have any retirement account at all.
Yeah, I just got one. I mean, when I say just got one, I mean like a month and a half ago.
I like what I do. I don't really plan on retiring.
And I mean, with what you do, there's plenty of people, plenty of older folks that are doing that, man. And hey, look, the older guys that are out there doing what you do, they're the ones in the know. That's I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
By the time you're in your 60s, your blade is razor sharp, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not a particularly demanding job. I mean, it is at this level, but hopefully, as you scale up, you get underlings and they do all the heavy lifting and you just come in and do the job. That's the fun thing about, I guess, any sort of engineering, really. Man, I'm thinking about playing some Tony Hawk, but it's gonna be that for the rest of the fucking podcast. So, dude, I just unlocked Darth Maul in Tony Hawk 3.
What? Yeah. Man, I forgot there was secret characters and stuff like that.
I think Darth Maul is the only one I ever unlocked. I don't think I unlocked any of the other ones. If I did, it was by cheat. But I hadn't entered any cheats into this one. I'm just playing it straight. I finally beat it with Rodney Mullen, man. The whole game, all the medals. I didn't get all the boards and I didn't get all the stat points with him. I'll come back and do that later. But yeah, as you beat the game with more skaters, you unlock, you know how they used to do, you unlock like big head mode. It's not big head mode, but it's, that equivalent. Like low gravity mode and other skaters and things like that. There's like, you can unlock I think his name's like Dick the Cop or something. There's Ollie the Magic Bum.
Ollie the Magic Bum, dude. Yeah. Oh, what was it? Was it in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 where you were? Oh God, I forgot. Was it?
It might have been
Venice
both
Beach,
of them. I want to think
you actually had to ollie
both.
a couple of bums.
I think so. I think it was both of the games where you had two Ollie the Magic Bum, and his name is Ollie the Magic Bum. Dude, apparently Rodney Mullen invented the Ollie. It seems like such a, I don't know. It's like inventing the shoe or something.
Yeah, like fucking Al Gore. I invented pants.
Yeah, I invented swimming. Like inventing the Ollie, and apparently he invented all like the flip tricks and stuff. He's really weird to watch interviews with. He's a real strange guy. Just his demeanor, I guess. I don't know about his personality really. Obviously, I don't fucking know the guy. But just fucking brilliant. And yeah, apparently like his dad was a real strict guy, but apparently on New Year's one year he got he had a drink and he was feeling happy, and they were like having a sale on skateboards that day or something. So he finally bought Rodney a skateboard. And they moved to somewhere in Florida where it was like just atrociously flat and kind of out in the middle of nowhere or something. I don't know. He didn't have any friends, and the landscape was just fucking flat. So that's how he started freestyle skating, because everybody else was just doing vert back then.
Yeah, so you're gonna flip your board up, learn how to flip your board upside down and slide across the grip tape and shit like that. It's unreal. It's almost like you'd almost have to be in that situation to come up with that shit, man.
Yeah. I think I'm going to severely isolate my kid and see what kind of genius she becomes. Just kidding. DSS, don't come get me. Just a prank, bro.
Yeah, my child, the failed psychological experiment.
Oh, God. I think the one that was crying to Kamala Harris was evidence enough of a failed psychological experiment. Dude, so Peterson says the literally the way to, and this is, I've kind of echoed this before. Well, I've read this before. Like literally going out and exploring, or doing new things literally activates like new neuron circuits inside of your brain. Like you increase your capacity to learn by discovery, by, exploring. And I don't think that's just geographically, but certainly geographically and culturally, but I'm sure it applies to other, but anyway, definitely geographically, culturally. You increase your capacity for knowledge by going under a pilgrimage, basically. And Peterson, I've been listening to him a lot, of course, I always do. One of his lectures that I just heard, he was talking about, it's kind of parallel to that. Well, it's kind of opposite of that, where like these safe spaces in universities and shit like that, like it's literally the opposite of that. He says, as of any sort of clinical psychology teachings tell you that, because he is a clinical psychologist, they teach you that to overcome your fears, you literally have to face that fear. And that's something that's kind of obvious. We already know this, I guess, at least hypothetically, or whatever. But what these safe spaces in universities are doing is literally the opposite of that. They're increasing the anxiety of the people by herding them together in these safe spaces where they don't have to face their fears.
And it stunts intellectual growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he says that's completely like antithetical to what these universities should be doing. And it's mind-blowing that they're going along with it. That this is something they should have just kicked in the ass a long time ago. And it's wild that they haven't. And it makes a lot of sense that millennials are fucking soft-ass pussies, man. They're, they don't have any sort of capacity for any, anything at all, really. They just whine about socialism, and they whine about getting my free ice cream and crazy shit like that. It's kind of sad, but apparently, I've heard a few people now say that Generation Z is much better off than Generation Y.
I've heard that as well. I'm not going to get any better at gunfights in DayZ without actually having them happen. Like, I'm not going to get less nervous about somebody shooting at me until I've got bullets cracking over my fucking head out in the middle of the woods.
I mean,
you
yeah.
know? And I mean, up until that point, I'm just going to remain as nervous as a DayZ player as I am. And, you know, I don't know if you use the term antithetical in reference to, you know, colleges having safe spaces, but that's just the total antithesis of why they're there. You know, you are hampering your ability to solidify your own arguments by not taking any other rebuttals seriously, which is why the Democrat Party as a whole isn't doing anyone any favors by keeping somebody like Tulsi Gabbard off of a debate stage from the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't take anything seriously. I mean, for God's sake, a Ukrainian prosecutor, a sworn statement by a Ukrainian prosecutor is being hailed as a conspiracy theory, while secondhand information in this whistleblower complaint is being hailed as the gospel. How in the fuck does that happen?
Well, that's just Orange Man bad.
Yeah, and I mean, and there you go. That Orange Man bad has become the meme for the left's total disregard for anything that goes against what they believe. Like they will not even address the intellectual position. It's Orange Man is a rapist. Orange Man touches pussies. Orange Man, you know, fucking Russian collusion this, you know,
Orange Man
Ukrainian collusion
taxes.
that. Oh, Jesus Christ, yes. You know, and look, the transcript of that call has been moved to a secure server where people have access to it. Much like Trump's tax returns that are in the IRS's custody, he's not hiding anything there. There's nothing to be hidden.
Well, so one thing he said is that there were stenographers on that call. So there should be like an exact transcript of it. But we haven't been given an exact transcript. What they gave us was like a I don't know. I guess what they
Like
gave
a
us,
recollection, wasn't it?
yeah,
Sprinkled with actual quotes.
yeah. So
I mean, that does sound like Trump talking. I mean, the way that transcript reads from his end, that sounds like the president of the United States and how he speaks.
regardless, I guess, I don't see it as he's trying to like take down a political opponent. I mean,
yeah, he's asking them to investigate a crime.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to elect the asshole that committed it.
So yeah, he is a political opponent, but it shouldn't be a crime to try and investigate a political opponent for actual crimes.
Exactly. And another sticking point to that was they're trying to say that Trump was wanting to withhold defense funding, whereas they weren't even aware that that shit was even being delayed until a month after the phone call took place. So, I mean, their entire position is that on the phone call itself, the Ukrainian president was supposed to be under the impression of, oh shit, this guy's trying to strong arm me. When that completely wasn't the case.
Yeah, why don't they why don't they get him on the phone? Why don't we have an interview with that guy? Confirming what the media is claiming that, happened. It should be real easy just to ask the guy, hey, did you get strong armed? Did President Trump beat you up?
No, he doesn't want to do that out of fear of repercussions. Like what? Out in broad daylight now?
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. What repercussions? That he didn't want to get Trump impeached? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really having a hard time trying to understand where exactly the Democrats are trying to go with this. I mean, it came out today. Like I mentioned to you earlier that Schiff had tweeted the damn near the exact verbiage of this whistleblower complaint back in August. It was like, mid to late August. And anyhow, today, Schiff's staff, a spokesman for Adam Schiff, said that yes, the whistleblower was indeed in contact with Schiff's staff prior to filing the complaint. And Schiff had fucking lied on MSNBC saying that he had no contact with the whistleblower whatsoever. And Trump was real quick to make the accusation that Schiff helped that whistleblower write the complaint. And as egregious as that is, the goddamn policy with the DNI was updated to allow secondhand information, in August, and they didn't post it on the website until September. And that all occurred after the phone call in July. It's another setup, dude. It is another setup. And when the fuck is somebody going to go to jail over this?
Spell it out. So what's the timeline here? What you probably just said it, and
and I kind of went backwards. Trump has the phone call in July, and during the month of August, Schiff tweets the verbiage of this whistleblower complaint, and this was in August. Also in August, the whistleblower policy is updated to allow second and third hand information rather than a first hand source. And then the complaint, and then
that's
the policy,
hearsay, though, right?
That is absolutely hearsay. And, as light in the loafers as Lindsey Graham is, and as swaying in the wind as this guy is politically, he was right. You can't even get a fucking parking ticket off of hearsay in the United States of America. You're trying to impeach a president over it? And the whistleblower was is supposedly a CIA operative. No, Edward Snowden calling bullshit is a whistleblower. This guy is a fucking spy. Like, at some point, this is conspiring against a duly elected president. Somebody's ass needs to go to jail for the rest of their fucking lives in the federal pound me in the ass penitentiary.
Yeah. So this started in August then?
Yes, the wheels in motion as far as the whistleblower complaint and the changing of the policy, all that happened in August. The actual phone conversation happened in July.
How did the policy change? Was this something that Trump had to sign himself?
No, see, that's the big question. Who the fuck was responsible for updating that policy? Because the person that updated that policy has their little tendrils in all of this. And here's what the supposition is that they went to file, that Schiff helped file this whistleblower complaint, as is evidenced by his tweet and the fact that his own spokesman said the whistleblower had contact with Schiff's staff. The supposition is that he helped write this and said, oh shit, this isn't going to fly under the current whistleblower policy with the DNI. And they had it updated.
DNI?
The Director of National Intelligence.
Okay.
Intelligence. The intelligence community.
Yep.
Effectively. And so that's it. Schiff helped write this. He helped facilitate this. He helped fiddle fuck with the policy, all to make this whistleblower complaint a thing to what it is now, so that it would hit the public realm and people would take it and run with it. I mean, at some point, this is fucking treason, dude. Yeah. That's what treason is. And I just, for the life of me, if this was Barack Obama in the presidency and a Republican was doing this shit, oh God, you danger to the Republic, you dangerous bastards. Republicans would be hailed as redcoats, dude.
That's pretty wild.
Now, in the midst of all this, if you want want my poor bastard opinion. They're getting more and more desperate. The President of the United States has had his Attorney General take a little trip to Italy. Attorney General Barr. See, Giuliani's looking into all this Ukraine stuff. And
Giuliani's his personal attorney?
He is.
So why is that even like, what's the deal there? Why is that his personal attorney getting into political affairs? That seems weird.
See, dude, people are saying that he's treating Barr like his personal attorney. I think that Giuliani's there to specifically look out for Trump and make sure that Trump isn't being fucked in all of this. So,
because he kind of is.
He is. Giuliani's already caught a House subpoena. He's going to go in front of a House committee, I do believe. Because the other day it was all about, Giuliani responds to the subpoena by the House, and it's the meme picture of him holding up a piece of paper that says, "Eat a dirty dick, you rotten fucking communist."
Is it a real picture?
Nah. It's a running meme. There's a picture of Trump and pointing to a little sign that says that, so it's kind of a running joke. Barr's been in Italy investigating just what the fuck went down with George Papadopoulos, because if you'll remember, George was down in the Mediterranean, and that's when he was approached by Mifsud. That I believe that was the professor.
Yep.
And so
the female Russian agent.
Yes. And Papadopoulos was given that money, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And he left that money with some attorney general in Cyprus or something like that. And as soon as his plane landed in the United States of America, George Papadopoulos was accosted by the FBI and was searched because it was a setup. They were expecting him to have that money. The news story was supposed to be that, a member of Trump's team flew back to the United States with duffel bags of fucking money.
Yeah.
And it was a setup. And Barr is in Italy investigating that because Italy just got a new government that does not subscribe to this globalism bullshit with the EU. Huh. So they got a sympathetic government over there. And look, dude, there was an Australian ambassador involved in this shit.
There's a Papadopoulos?
Yeah. And that Australian ambassador was a big donor to the Clintons. There's a lot of people that say all this bullshit with, Russia collusion and all that stuff, that there was a lot of people in the EU that were involved in helping the Democrats with this stuff. So it might be a whole hell of a lot dirtier than we thought it was. And Barr is over there with John Durham, who I believe, let me make sure I got this right. I think John Durham is like the deputy attorney general, right? In May of 2019, Attorney General William Barr designated John Durham to conduct a review of the origins of Operation Crossfire Hurricane Russia investigation to determine if intelligence collection involving the Trump campaign was lawful and appropriate. He's been over in Italy with John Durham, and that's what that spells. That he's over there trying to figure out, if you've ever seen, God, I forget the movie, Wilford Brimley, diabetes. Mm-hmm. I forget what movie it was, but the line from him was, "I'm going to figure out just what in the good Christ is going on here, and somebody's ass is leaving in my briefcase." And that's exactly what's going on. And I think they're starting to get desperate. That's what all this impeachment shit is. Trump has opened up a new investigation, not into emails, but to the servers regarding the State Department.
Yeah.
And God, he's got the current
There's still emails that never got found that were intentionally deleted. The guy took to Reddit. I mean, they found his personal Reddit account where he was asking on Reddit, how do I delete emails?
Yes. Dude, yeah, stone tier. Yep.
Yeah. And those emails there were like 30,000 emails, but some of them got released. But not all of them?
Some of them did. Not all of them. Nope. Some of them got absolutely cooked, man. All of it's yoga and wedding emails, bro. So here's the thing. The fact that was a private server, nobody in the U.S. government had access to that server. That's the thing. Since it was a private server,
right,
no one in a U.S. government capacity had access to that. So the current head of the State Department understands and has access to everything within the State Department. And anyhow, a new investigation has been opened into the actual servers, and not just emails. And there are apparently 130 individuals within the State Department whose emails have now been retroactively classified when they weren't initially.
By whom?
By the current, goddamn, who the fuck? I can see his face.
So, okay, Mike Pompeo. Okay.
That's it. Yep. The Trump administration is investigating the email records of dozens of current and former senior State Department officials who sent messages to then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private email, reviving the politically toxic matter that overshadowed the 2016 election. As many as 130 officials have been contacted in recent weeks by State Department investigators, a list that includes senior officials who reported directly to Clinton, as well as others in lower-level jobs whose emails were at some point relayed to her inbox. Those targeted were notified that the emails they sent years ago have been retroactively classified and now constitute potential security violations, according to letters reviewed by the Washington Post. State Department investigators began contacting former officials about 18 months ago after President Trump's election, and then seemed to drop the effort before picking it up again in August. The list of officials include prominent ambassadors and assistant secretaries of state responsible for U.S. policy in the Middle East, Europe, and Central Asia, but it also includes dozens of current and former career bureaucrats who served as conduits for outside officials trying to get important messages to Clinton.
Yeah, because just because her server was on, just because her server was private, I mean, all you have to do is look at the emails that were, sent to her, replied, and stuff like that. You can find a lot of that information. That information exists on somebody else's servers. That's kind of the beauty of the internet is once you're on there, you're fucking on there.
Unless, you wipe your server with a cloth.
Yeah.
So that hasn't ended.
Good. I mean, it shouldn't.
Rightfully fucking so. I tell you what, it's all these incidents are linked, because Comey investigated Clinton. You had the tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton and Deputy and Attorney General Kankle's there. It's just dirty from stem to fucking stern, dude. Somebody's ass needs to go to fucking prison for the rest of their lives. That's not hyperbole. Somebody deserves to rot in a fucking jail cell, and not just one person. I mean, of course, there's a couple people that need to be made examples out of, but Jesus Christ, this is a scandal far beyond anything that we've even dreamed of in this nation.
Scandal-free president.
Oh, I know. And let me tell you what, he was at the center of it. There's no fucking way this guy didn't know stuff like this was going on. I mean, it really does come down to him either being utterly involved or just totally inept that he just had no clue that his people were running around doing shit like this. And that's why I think it's, just looking for a logical reason, like why the hell. It's like someone has casted a berserk debuff on the Democrats and they're just hurting themselves and anyone around them in just a blind rage in the hopes of hurting Trump. And for the life of me, they've got to know that they are absolutely fucked naked to be doing stuff like changing whistleblower policies and, having members of the House Intelligence Committee fiddle fuck complaints and having their tendrils and stuff. That I cannot come up with any other explanation other than these people know they are absolutely fucked if they don't get this guy out of office within a year. Because there's nobody on that debate stage that's going to take Trump. There just isn't any.
That's definitely how they're acting. Absolutely. I mean, it's they're acting very desperate.
And they honestly, they blew their load early, dude. Impeachment's the only thing that gets people's peckers up now. You racist, misogynist, whatever you want is whatever else you want to append to that. It doesn't do anything anymore, dude. It does not do anything anymore.
What's Pompeo's position?
Secretary of State.
Was that Hillary's job?
She was Secretary of State. That's the Secretary of State is basically your chief ambassador. They handle a lot of the foreign policy. They are the operative arm of foreign policy and the face of the United States and other countries around the world.
Oof.
So Pompeo is her predecessor. Not direct predecessor. They had, what was his name? I can't think of it. The Exxon CEO was the Secretary of State there for a while. I cannot think of his name. But he was in there for a little bit, and Trump took him out and put Pompeo in there, which I think Pompeo was Trump's CIA head before he did the Secretary of State deal, which is where he's at now, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see. Wikipedia says Mike Pompeo is a racist, hate-filled piece of shit. Just kidding. He was the 6th director of the CIA he was a representative from Kansas. He was a House rep from Kansas from 11 to 17. And that's when he became director of CIA just for 3 months, from January to April.
Year and 3 months, January 2017.
Oh,
April
yeah.
2018.
Okay.
So he was around enough to know what the fuck was going on in the CIA.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Which I don't think hurt what he's doing now at all. So I think that was a good chess move, moving him. Hell, if your boy's doing a good job as director of the CIA and you got a job for him to take care of, shit, I'd make that move.
He's a former Army officer. That's crazy. He was only the 6th director of the CIA.
Almost makes it sound like those guys are around for a while, doesn't it? Like there might be a little bit of an establishment within the intelligence community. See, that's what I think the deep state is. I think the deep state are people that have been in the intelligence community. That's when I think of deep state, that's what I think of. Long-standing members of the intelligence community that have more of an allegiance to their fucking department than they do this nation, which is a problem. I'm telling you, man, the books that are going to be written on this man's presidency in 20 years like by people in his cabinet, once all this shit is finally cooled off after a couple of decades and people can finally circle the wagons and talk about what happened here without endangering the well-being of, the country and lifting our skirts as far as to what's going on. Like as soon as this shit's not current anymore, holy balls. Holy balls.
Yeah. It seems so fucking entangled, or like there's just so many legs of it, It's fucking crazy.
And it's well beyond. To understand this, you and I have been paying attention to this for years. Years. Yeah. It is well beyond the scope of the average American's attention span to sit down and understand all of this.
Benghazi was one of the first things that I was like, because it was so crazy. Well, because, one of the guys was an EVE Online player. So that kind of hit close to home, in whatever stupid way. It didn't hit close to home, but, But also they blamed it on a YouTube video.
And hey, this guy was a real person that had similar interests to us.
Exactly. And then Hillary blamed it on a YouTube video. And I was like, I watch fuck tons of YouTube videos and I've never blown anybody up.
Hey, and that motherfucker got locked up, son.
Really?
Yes. Yes, they jailed that bastard over that.
What?
I can't even remember his name or if he's out or what happened to him, but that guy went to fucking jail.
That's a First Amendment violation right there. Unless he was in the UK.
Here we go. Here's an article from Daily Caller, dated November 3rd, 2015. Nakoula Nakoula, the filmmaker whose YouTube movie was initially blamed for the Benghazi attack, told the Daily Caller he has little to say about the Benghazi Select Committee hearings where Hillary Clinton testified almost 2 weeks ago. The movie had nothing to do with people getting killed, right? I'm out, he declared, implying that he had nothing else to say about the matter since he was released from prison. Following the September 11th, 2012 terrorist attacks in Benghazi, then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, along with the rest of the administration, blamed a video clip from an online YouTube film titled The Innocence of Muslims for inciting an attack on the U.S. mission in Benghazi. Nakoula, who was taken into custody days after the attack and later arrested and convicted of fraud, produced the film, which mocked the Islamic prophet Muhammad. He was sentenced to a year in federal prison and 4 years as supervised release.
Yeah, the video was titled "The Innocence of the Muslims" or "The Innocence of Muslims." The Innocence of Muslims, yeah.
And at the time of that article, it said he lives a quiet life at a homeless shelter provided by the First Southern Baptist Church. He earns $300 a month working part-time at a pizza parlor, a job he has had for a year. He said, I'm a very poor person. I'm a homeless person. I like to keep my mouth shut. I don't want to go to jail again. I don't like to go to jail again. I like to stay with people and be quiet and keep a low profile. I'm working part-time in the church and helping the homeless because I live with them. According to Nakoula, some in the shelter are aware of who he is, but mainly he keeps to himself, helping out in the kitchen. Nakoula is not in touch with his family and is apparently estranged from them. Additionally, he no longer talks to friends or business associates from his past. I've disappeared from them, he is quoted as saying.
Yeah, allegedly, so apparently he had already been arrested on charges of bank and credit fraud, and posting that YouTube video violated his probation, is why he was arrested for the video, is what they're claiming. That's a Fox News article. Much
like the marriage of Bill and Hillary Clinton, that's awfully convenient.
Yeah.
God, I know I've already said it, but Dennis Miller was like, if the Clintons' marriage was any more convenient, there'd be a fucking snack machine at the foot of their bed. But yeah, what a tangled fucking web this whole story is. And it's like I was saying earlier, it's well beyond the scope of any sort of attention span that the average American has today. Like you would have to do a week-long 60-minute special every night of the damn week to cover all the nooks and crannies of this. And no one's going to give that shit the time of day, dude.
I wonder why they blamed Benghazi on a YouTube video. Like, what was the distraction from?
That we were selling arms to Syrian rebel groups. We were selling arms and getting involved in that shit, and that was pretty much it, dude. She did that to cover her ass. Dude, mortars had already been sighted in on the consulate. You don't just drop mortars on a rooftop,
right?
That takes time. That takes a lot of time. That's not something that you just do. That you just pull mortars out of the crack of your ass and just start dropping them on target.
Yeah, because
I'm a civilian. I'm not an artillery officer, but I know enough to know that that's fucking horseshit.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've ever heard about them is that you kind of aim them by shooting them, and you've got to keep shooting them, and you've got a spotter that's way up above you that says, "Yeah, reel that shit in." Or
yeah, if you're not doing it on the fly, you've got to do reconnaissance, man. And it's not like you just send someone out there with a roll of twine to go walk from where your mortar position is up to the goddamn consulate.
Yeah. Right. Hey, what are you guys doing here? We're just measuring just some distance,
Yeah.
Hey, about how tall is that roof, by the way?
Hey, Ahmed, hold this fucking string. Just unreal, dude. Absolutely unreal. And she let those guys, she left their dicks twisting in the wind because they knew what was going on. It was happening in their backyard, dude.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they had to have.
I mean, there was an American CH-47 that had a Stinger missile lodged in the back fuselage that didn't go off. And they actually landed and pulled that thing out of the side of the aircraft. And they're like, holy shit, this has an American serial number on it.
Yeah.
How the fuck are we having our own shit fired at us?
I mean, that's something that's no secret. They've been doing that since, at least the 70s. Didn't like Jane Fonda go over there to like help sell arms to two fucking Barack Obama bin Laden?
Well, Hanoi Jane was just sympathetic to the communist cause. I mean, she was a fucking commie.
Yeah.
That was her deal, is that she was just basically an American turncoat.
But yeah, I mean, so the story I always heard is that we sold arms to and trained Osama bin Laden as pretty much just as a rebel group against the government over there.
The Russians were fucking around there, and because it was the Cold War, we trained those that ended up becoming the Mujahideen,
right?
Basically, and the people that we ended up fighting over there recently,
right? Which makes sense. I mean, that seems crazy. That seems like such a bad idea. Like, was there any success in fighting Russia there? Like, did the
Russians got their asses whooped
by the Afghanis?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that was a very, very bloody war, and the Russians ended up getting their asses whipped. And they had a lot of trouble in Chechnya and all that stuff. Chechens are effectively, from what I understand it, they're of the Muslim faith, but they are also slightly of Slavic descent. I'm not 100% on that. But I can tell you, back when Syria was starting to fall, that's when I started getting into watching a lot of combat footage from that region. And there was no mistaking when Chechens were around, dude. I mean, they spoke Russian. They didn't speak Arabic. But goddamn if they weren't saying Allahu Akbar. I mean, the Chechens were battle-hardened badasses, dude. Because they came up in the era of fighting the Russians, and they just, just ready for a fight. I mean, their Chechens were some of the most feared groups over there at the time.
And why the Russians?
Are
they just fighting for land?
I'm not entirely certain why the Russians were over there doing that. I don't know what exactly they had in mind for, or what, what kind of history they had tied to the region for why they were there. I'm not entirely certain. But I do know they got their asses handed